Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a mixed media 12x12 layout process video. So today's video I'm using the Lindys Magicals, and I bought a set of 5 of these off of Amazon, and I got Drop Dead Diva was the collection that I'm going to be using. I started off, as you can see here, using a stencil. This stencil is actually from a cake decorating supply shop. I do cake decorating as a kind of side hobby, I suppose. And I happened to be browsing their website to buy some other products, and I found these stencils and thought, I probably don't know if I am going to use them on a cake. Now I've obviously used them for mixed media, so I'm not. But yes, I decided that they'd be really useful for mixed media, and they were really reasonably priced, and they had some really exciting sort of patterns on there. I've been looking for a polka dot stencil, so I got this cool polka dot one, and I used some texture paste, the opaque matte texture paste by Ranger, and just pushed it through the stencil. I put it in kind of like a randomish pattern. I was sticking slightly more to one side of the page, slightly more to the left hand side, and then I got out the Magicals and I started with Sassy Sapphire. I don't use all of the colours because the pictures that I am going to be putting on this layout are kind of blues and greens, and the sort of salmon colour is mostly what's in the picture. So I just got one of these fan brushes. This is a Winsor & Newton fan brush. I dipped it into the Magicals, and after spritzing water over my page, I just tapped these Magicals onto it, and they just like explode like fireworks. They're just amazing. They're so much fun. They're really, really heavily pigmented. So this is actually the second background that I did, because the first one was just literally insane. So I was just having so much fun spraying as many colours on as I could. I also used a little bit of Drop Dead Gorgeous Green, and I really tapped only a tiny amount of that on. Obviously, after my trial run, I realised the level of pigmentation and just used a tiny drop just to add a little bit of interest through this. Then I just sprayed some water over the top of the page, and it just spread everything out, and it just looks awesome. So then I dried everything. I just used a hairdryer to dry everything, and then came back to the layout, and I did actually add off camera a few extra splatters of the Sassy Sapphire to the left hand side, and I'd kind of twisted the page around here so that my photos could fit in like a arc, I would say. And the photos here, I've got 5 different photos, and they're slightly different angles of a view that we saw in Sri Lanka when we went on holiday last year, and we climbed Sigiriya, and the views were the most beautiful views I've ever seen, and I honestly can't imagine seeing anything more beautiful. So if there are more beautiful views than this, then I need to go there. So I've layered up behind my picture some torn up pieces of Maggie Holmes paper, and then I've also got these Maggie Holmes, I don't really know what they're called, they're like little flowery, don't know, tissue paper star thingies, don't know what they're called. And I picked 2 colours of those, a green one and then the salmon one at the top. And then I'm using this Thickers set, and these are like a plasticky kind of puffy sticker, which actually came in a Turtle Crafts kit, and I'm using the word capture as part of my title. And then I'm going to start sticking my pictures down. I didn't want to add background paper to every one of the pictures just because it seemed like too much with this kind of really vibrant background, and I didn't want to kind of lose touch from the actual pictures and the view. I really wanted that to come across. So I'm just using some tacky glue to stick these down. I figured wet glue was probably a better idea, given that the background is fairly heavily textured with the texture paste, so I wanted to make sure that everything stuck properly to the page. This larger photo with me and Bill in it, I'm going to actually put some foam behind that to make it really stand out above the other 4 photos on the page. So yeah, 5 photo layout is very unusual for me. Mixed media, very unusual for me. I'm trying to branch out a little bit, try a few new things. I'm just fiddling around here with the placement of some of these items. And then I settle on a kind of place for my word capture, and then I add these amazing gold thickers. I can't remember what this set is called. If I remember to, I'll put it in the comments down below, but I am not particularly good at doing that, so it's going to say capture this view as the title, and these letters are just so funky. I love the shape, they're puffy and they're a really beautiful gold colour, not too yellowy gold, like more of a brassy kind of gold, which I personally prefer. Slightly warmer. And then I'm just adding a little exclamation mark on there, and yes, and then I get out some various sort of labels to add to the layout. So I go down a kind of gold accent route. So I do use this little white label with the gold around the outside. I don't use that style, that goes naturally. You just kind of play around auditioning things on the page, and I actually cut out so much auditioning. This video, when I first uploaded it and sped it up, was about 15 minutes, and now it's 9, so there was a lot that I cut out. I've used this acetate piece which says my story on it, and then I've also found this larger shaped kind of arrowy thing, don't know what to describe it as, label again I guess, and it says currently on it. And I think I'm just having a little search to see if there's anything else, because there are some other golds in here, but I find this cool label, but I don't use that in the end. It's just on my desk still, in fact. So I add the word Sri Lanka in another splash of this kind of nudie, salmony sort of colour, which is to play on the rocks of Sigiriya. And yeah, I just use these letters to spell out Sri Lanka, and I stick it to that gold kind of currently embellishment. I do really like these little tile letters, and I like deliberately making them a little bit wonky because I think they add a bit of interest, a little bit of texture to it. I quite like that. Like my title, I really enjoy the fact that it is wonky. I love it. I don't know, I prefer the wonkiness to the straight lines. And I think that's the beauty of a mixed media layout that you don't necessarily get with, when you don't use any mixed media, is this, it's much more fluid. That's how Bill described it, and I think he was right to describe it that way. Fluid like the paint. I don't know. Oh. And then I'm just going to use a glue dot here to stick the acetate piece down. That's normally how I deal with acetate pieces. I have no idea if these glue dots will, last in an album for a long time. I'll see. But it's just easier. I find it easier to use those to stick acetate pieces down. Plus it gives a tiny little bit of kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like height to them. It's not quite as extreme as foam tape, but it gives a little bit of variation in the height. And then I'm going to use this navy blue sort of pen here to add some journaling. I just added a few lines to say that it was the most beautiful view, that we'd climbed to the top, so it was well deserved after this quite a big walk, which you can't really, you might be able to see from this far away, but my face is literally bright red, like my face is going to explode. Yes, very nice. Very attractive. All these beautiful views, and then there's my bright red face. And then I'm adding a few enamel dots. So I've got these 2 little arrow enamel dots here, which I've put a blue one near capture and a green one near this view. And then I have these tiny little enamel dots in the little stars, and they're in like a salmon colour and a green. And I'm just kind of sprinkling them around, and that will finish this layout off. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video if you did. If you've used the Magicals, I'd love to hear if you've got any other tips or tricks for using them, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.